So, Prabhatam to everyone. So, Prabhatam means good morning. Actually, it means exactly good morning. Su means wonderful. Prabhatam, morning. And today we will continue with unpacking the story of the 8th chapter of the Chandogya Upanishad with a view to understanding what are the things in ourselves that we need to cultivate, correct, so that we can move forward in our spiritual evolution progress. So we talked yesterday about the story. We also talked about the qualifications that obviously Indra had and Virochana did not. One was Viveka, other one was what? Vairagya, and then a great desire for moksha that is not quenched by anything other than this sacred knowledge, than the exposure, a committed exposure to this knowledge. A burning desire for freedom, to be liberated from what? From doing the same thing all over again, same thing, every day, every life, life after life, and expecting a different outcome. This is the definition of samsara. And who is a samsari? The one who is certifiably insane. Yes, the one who is insane, because only insanity makes us do the same thing over and over and over again and expect a different outcome. What is this thing that I'm doing over and over again? I'm going after the finite and expecting it to become infinite. Like even this body, this mind, senses, all my possessions, etc., etc. And so this insanity, this is what is called bhavaroga, the disease of samsara. And the medicine for this disease is Bhagavan, Ishvara, God. That's why Bhagavan is called Bhavaroga Bhishak, the doctor of samsara, because the symptoms are very, very strange. Suddenly one feels like withdrawing from life. Suddenly one gets angry. Suddenly one gets upset. Suddenly one gets apathetic. And only this, the medicine of God's grace, Guru's grace, and the grace of the Shastra is the antidote for this samsara disease. And so these three are very important. And the fourth one is actually unpacks itself into six. Then why do we call it the fourfold qualification? We should call it the ninefold classification. Ninefold qualification. We call it the fourfold qualification because we don't want to scare you away. Okay, because if there are 9 things one has to acquire, one will say it's not happening. But if somebody were to only 4 things, yeah, Viveka, Vairagya, Mumukshutvam, and one more thing. Oh, okay, I think I can do it. And then at the last minute, by the time one is interested in this knowledge, the last thing is unfolded as 6. And these 6 are another reason, the real reason why they are grouped together is because they build upon one another. One is a non-reactive mind, Shama. Oh, I have a non-reactive mind, said somebody. And then what happened? Until the next minute, something threw the person off, and the person threw their rage upon the whole the whole group. This is what happens. Everything is okay as long as my desires are being fed, as long as my prejudices and preferences are being taken care of. Everything is okay. I'm the nicest person in the whole world. Am I accommodative? Check. Yes, I'm accommodative. and I have a non-reactive mind. I don't react at all. Fine, no problem. Everything is wonderful. But the moment something goes against my desires, my wants, my preferences, what I don't want, all these things, when something goes against, then the reactivity comes out. Everybody has a reactive mind. It's just a question of threshold. Where is my threshold? And so that is this cultivation of a non-reactive mind is called Shama, the first one. A tranquil mind where you don't have to react constantly. In fact, you don't even need, as we progress in trying to acquire this non-reactive mind, we find that there is nothing much to say at all. Really. There's nothing much to talk about. And this is something very, very beautiful, because before, what would we do? We would interject in every single conversation, in every single interaction. I have to throw in my 2 cents, otherwise I have not participated. I need to be validated, I need to be looked at, I need to be appreciated, I need to be heard, I need to be there, loud and proud and clear and everything. Me. But after a little mamsa means an analysis of me, Sanskrit word meaning inquiry. After that, we find that this mind that we enjoy can actually be trained to just be relaxed and fall back on itself. It's a very, very beautiful training through meditation. Antaranga sadhana. Antaranga sadhana means an inward sadhana, meditation, etc. And also outward sadhana, karma yoga. Because in karma yoga, all the raga, preferences, dvesha, prejudices have to sit in one place, because I have to do what I need to do without regard to whether I like it or not. I don't like cutting vegetables. Well, that's your seva. You have to do it. And so there the mind grows into a certain way of just not being anymore a demanding mind. It is eminently trainable. And the training of the mind, the fruit of the training of the mind is called Shama, from the root verb sham, from which the word Shanti has come. That peace does not begin with living in a world which is without wars and without conflict. That peace begins with there being no inner conflict between what I say, what I think, what I say, what I do. Shama. And so if this non-reactivity is not there, then we need the second qualification, which is called Dhamma, which is the ability to master the reactivity at the level of the physical body and speech. This is Dhamma. Immediately I say something. Sometimes people don't even bother saying something. What do? Straight away they go. They are into action because there is no coordination between the karmendriyas, the organ of action, and the mind. They just go like that. And here, Dhamma means keeping the organs of action in training. They are there for me when I want. The hand should lift when I want. The leg should lift when I want. It's not that the kick happens and then I say, oh, what did I do? I hope they are not dead. That is not the way to go about life. Okay. So this is Dhamma. And then we have how is Shama and Dhamma acquired, first of all, is the third thing here in the fourfold qualifications, in the last qualification, the sixfold virtues is called Uparama, Uparati.
Thanks.
Uparati.
நான் உங்களுக்கு மெசேஜ் பண்ணிட்டேன் எத்தனை மணிக்கு நாளைக்கு டாக்டர்
Uparati means what? Uparati means letting go. We all need a doctorate in letting go. This is the PhD to pursue. Otherwise, one becomes a micromanager. Everything has to go through me. I am the indispensable one. Famous last words. Okay. Before transitioning, somebody said, I am indispensable. Nothing can run without me. Gone. This Bhagavan has the last laugh always. Yeah. Better to let go now. Why wait? Why wait until things are snatched away from you, including one's sight, one's hearing, one's mobility? Everything is going to go anyway. Before it goes, I let go. Very nice. I let go of this mind. I let go of this body. I just offer it up to Bhagavan. I let go of all these notions that keep me trapped in the doom and gloom of samsara. This is uparati. Then I have to, after gaining shama, dama, uparati, the first three, then I have to go towards the shastra. Because gaining the first three, shama, tranquil mind, dama, a say over my own actions, uparati, letting go, that's like dressing up in a tuxedo. After that, you have to go to the party. You can't just stay at home, all dressed up with no place to go. Where will you go? To the Shastra. And so, the fourth qualification that we have to cultivate is Shraddha, an open-minded receptivity to what the Shastra, the teaching says, what the teacher says. If I say, I only believe in the teaching, I don't believe in the teacher, then what are you going to do? You're going to read the Upanishad. If you read the Upanishad, what will happen? The same thing that happened to the Britishers when they came to India to find out what makes us tick. So they came and they said, oh, the secret is in their religion. If we master their religion, we will know how to colonize them. The first mantra they tried to understand was Purnamadaha Purnamidam. What's the translation? Let's see. That is whole. Okay. This is whole. Okay. Then you take away the whole from the whole. What? And what's left is the whole. The last whole is spelled H-O-L-E, right? This was the question. What did you understand? Nothing. What is that? What is this? It's all very precisely defined. That is the cause of the universe. This is the effect. The effect is non-separate from the cause. The cause is whole. The effect is whole. Like even the clay, which is the cause, and the pot that has come from the clay, which is the effect. There is no such thing called pot except the name and the form. All that is there is clay, clay all the way. All that is there is Brahman. I am Brahman, you are Brahman. Everything that you hear, see, touch, interact with is Brahman. How are you going to understand this if there is not even a modicum of receptivity? Shraddha. There has to be this receptivity. The trust pending understanding is Shraddha. And we see that our fellow, what was his name? Indra had Shama, Dama, Uparati, Titiksha, Shraddha. The Titiksha will come in a bit. Shraddha, receptivity to the Guru's words, to the Shastra's words. The first time he was taught, he didn't understand. What did he do? Bye, I'm away from here. No, the teacher must not know what he's talking about. Tata. No, he stayed there for how many? 33 more years to just understand the meaning of this one syllable. Think about that. That is Shraddha. Then the next one, Titiksha, is also connected to that. Perseverance, forbearance, the ability to put up, cultivating the ability to put up with difficulty for the sake of this teaching. You go to an ashram to study, and then what? You expect the ashram to be a 5-star hotel. And then you say, where is the button for room service? Okay, yeah, when can I press and get coffee? And this is, the opposite of titiksha. Titiksha means the ability to put up with things. For the sake of gaining this knowledge, what all you can just put up with, it's okay. And then, in fact, when you put up with certain difficulties, you find that the threshold of tolerance increases. You thought, I can never live without this. But then you find that you're not only alive, but you're thriving. You find that. So you challenge yourself. These are the small challenges that you can give. And then people just, keep doing all these, what are they called? TikTok challenges. Yeah. Some silly challenges. What a waste of time. Jumping down from a building. Waste of time, really. These are the challenges we can set forth to ourselves wherever we see a dependency. We just say, let me try to do a little deferred gratification. Let me try to have it 2 hours later. Right now, I want it, I have to have it, I need it, that's what I think. But let me see what will happen if I have it, not at 7 o'clock, but at 9 o'clock. And we find nothing happens. And like this, titiksha is growing the threshold for doing without all the things we think we need. So we have done what? Shama, Dama, Uparati, Titiksha, and then Shraddha, and then finally single-minded focus, Samadhanam. You see this in Indra. He did not lose it at all until the very, 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 very end, until he gained this knowledge. Virochana, gone, gone. And so the main thing to take away from this is this kind of a mind, to command this kind of a mind is necessary for Vedanta study. The study that promises to release one from being subject to fear, being subject to sorrow. When? Forever. Then we can help ourselves further if we looked at the same story from a slightly different angle. And I hinted at this yesterday itself. What is this slightly different angle? We see Indra and Virochana as one person. Everybody has an inner Virochana. Yeah. Waiting to come out? No. Waiting to go back in. Okay. Yeah. Virochana is already out. Front, up, front and center. So everybody has an inner Virochana, what Carl Jung famously called as the shadow. And here we see Virochana is indeed behaving like a shadow. He is just a kind of a meme, really, and he is just a copycat. Whatever Indra does, Virochana copies. Indra falls at the feet of the teacher, Virochana also copies. Indra says, I would like to have this knowledge. Virochana complies. Indra stays for some time at 33 years in the ashram. Virochana also stays. Virochana is the shadow, Indra's shadow. A shadow that we do not want to look at. A shadow that we think has gone rogue. If the shadow just imitates me, then it's not scary. I go like this, the shadow also goes like that. I go like this, the shadow also goes like that. And whatever I do, the shadow does. That's what I expect of the shadow. But supposing the shadow goes rogue and comes after me, oh no, I'm afraid of my own shadow. Like what? Like that February 2nd animal. What's that called? Groundhog. Yeah. Yeah. February 2nd, it gets scared of the shadow every year and then goes back, supposedly. So This is actually, even that February 2nd, you can really have a nice Vedanta understanding on that, and on that whole ceremony of the groundhog, looking at its own shadow and getting frightened. And then what does it predict when it is frightened? 6 more weeks of cold, dreary winter. So then, whenever I'm afraid of my shadow, what happens? The wintry life of being afraid, of not being able to be one with everything, not being able to thaw out. The antakarana, the inner infrastructure has to thaw out. And it won't thaw out as long as there are all these frozen needs. And what are these frozen needs? They comprise the shadow. The frozen needs are needs that were there when one was 2 years old, 1.5 years old, 1 year old. The balloon that was burst at age 2 by a sibling is still rankling the heart, is still upset. One is still upset. You can't look at the elder brother or sister without going, because of you. My whole childhood was scarred. I am scarred for life. That's the feeling. And even sometimes one doesn't know that the balloon was burst. But maybe that's what happened. But somehow there is a sense of discomfort. I don't like to be around this person. Something happened. Sometimes we know the reason, sometimes we do not know the reason. But this hurt has not been interrogated. Instead, what is the person trying to do? Has become a balloonaholic, keeps on buying balloons, keeps on wanting whatever one thought one had missed again and again and again and again and again and again and again. Becomes a balloon collector. Still what? There is a big void. What's inside the balloon is just air. Here also there is just air, a big hollowed void. And it's not going to go. Even if 100 balloons were presented to the person, that void will not go. Why? Because there is a hurt being. That is the inner virochana. There's nothing to be scared of. Because virochana is like a tantrum throwing child. A child nonetheless. Inner child, we call it. Sometimes behaves like a brat, but nonetheless a child. So this is the divide. Indra, adult, knows, I want to know what is this Atma. Prajapati is the best teacher. I would like to go to him. I would like to stay in his ashram and study. But the inner child follows, dragging its feet, dragging Indra also down. And because of the presence of Virochana, this inner shadow, the inner child, Indra is not even able to ask for this knowledge. Stays there for 33 years along with Virochana and does not know what to even ask for, confused perhaps. There is no samadhana, the focus is not there, the desire is there, the focus is hijacked by the inner child repeatedly, repeatedly, repeatedly. And so this is what has to be healed. How to heal it? Most of the time, I don't even know there is an inner child. And secondly, even if I'm confronted with this, what do I feel like doing? Leaving it on the sidewalk and running away. Yes. Abandoned inner child. That's what I want to do. Why? Because I do not like it. Forget love. I do not like this inner child. I do not like how it behaves. I do not like the fact that it hijacks me. When I'm in an important meeting, it triggers me. It makes me it makes me have a meltdown so that I have to be carried out of the room in buckets. And then it just is a big thorn on the side, and I don't like to feel my hurt. I don't like to feel my pain. In fact, I am much happy rather than feeling my pain, rather than looking at this pain and wondering how to heal this pain. I'm much more comfortable blaming everybody else. It's always somebody else's fault. You are an idiot, that's why I'm like this. Yes, you are a donkey, that's why I'm like this. And if you were not there in the universe, I would be enlightened long ago. Yes. But because of your existence in the universe, I'm being held back. Because of you, I'm angry. I have anger issues because of you. I have mommy issues. Why? Duh, because of the mommy. I have daddy issues. Why? Because of the daddy. It's always somebody else's fault. And if we can't pinpoint very specifically to father, mother, spouse, brother, sister, significant other, we can't do that, then immediately what happens? The finger, the moving, roving finger goes up, points up. What is up? The stars. Jyotish. Yes, that's why people study astrology. How to blame Jupiter for my problems. Yes, you are in the wrong place. That's why. That's why each time I go, that's why I have become a ashram hopper. I have become a guru shopper because you keep sending me from place to place. You don't let me settle down. You are in the wrong place. You are in Capricorn, retrograde. You are debilitated. And you stand for what do you stand for? You stand for spiritual knowledge. It's all because of you that I'm like this. So my self ignorance is whose fault? Jupiter's fault. Because of Jupiter. And then you can blame other planets also. Saturn, yes, that's another one biggie. Yes. Shani, Saturn is looking at me wrongly. Go away. And Saturn is giving me a lot of difficulty. Saturn is also a teacher. Don't think Jupiter only is the teacher. Saturn is a teacher. Jupiter is a teacher. They just have different methods. Jupiter says, Jupiter is Guru. Guru says, come, sit down. Please listen to this knowledge. Are you all right? Is everything okay? And what does Saturn say? Well, Saturn doesn't talk. Saturn just does. Saturn yanks the rug or the floor from underneath the feet, and you fall flat on the back and then have spinal issues. And Saturn says, did you get the teaching? This is Saturn. And then Saturn has friends. They have been very active this year. What are they? Rahu. Who? Rahu. Yeah. And who else? Ketu. Yes. That too. Ketu. Yes. Who are these? They are again shadows of our own self. The shadow planets that eclipse the desires, ambitions, and goals. We ourselves stand in our own way. Rahu is you, that's who Rahu is. Ketu is you. But we blame the planets, we deify them, we blame them, we blame the Guru. You are not teaching properly. It's because of you that I'm not enlightened. Adi Shankara says in the Gita Bhashya in the second chapter, the person in the grip of anger fires the Guru. You are fired. What will the Guru say? I never thought I was hired. So there is no question of firing. That's why this knowledge is always free. This knowledge you don't charge because which is priceless. And the knowledge is not, see, if you feel like you're buying the knowledge, then there is that the ego does not sit down. It stands up and then it tries to run the show. So there is no charge. That is why it is freely given, freely assimilated. And besides, what can anybody charge to tell you about yourself which is already true? Nothing you can charge. And in this way, this inner child, if it is not interrogated, wreaks havoc. Wreaks havoc on your mind, wreaks havoc even on your body. leads you to addictive behaviors. And we can't be complacent. If we say, oh, I don't look at alcohol, I'm not a smoker, those are not the only addictions. There are all kinds of subtle addictions. We all know what they are. And this is the prasada. These addictive, dependent behaviors and are the prasada, are the outcome of not looking at the inner child, not looking at the body of pain that I have, that I confuse to be myself. And the desire for this inner child is for the desire. There is a desire I have for the inner child. What is the desire? Somebody else should take care of it. We should have a daycare center for inner children. Okay? Yeah. So what should I do? I leave my pain body, my anger body, my upset body, my apathy body, my sorrow body over there. I leave my inner children there, and then do whatever I want. I go away. I don't have to take care of it. And in fact, this is also what Indra tried. He thought the ashram was the daycare center for the inner Virojana. That's why he brought him the first time. And this is what everybody does. The ashrams are thought to be daycare center for inner children. Here is a quiz. Right or wrong? Wrong. Wrong. Totally wrong. In fact, it's two people who come to the Guru, two people who come to the ashram. One is very clear. I want to study yoga. I want to study Vedanta. I want to do this. I want enlightenment. I want to be free of samsara. And what does the other one say? Take care of me. Let me sit in your lap. Love me. Give me a hug. Take care of me. And what are you going to be doing? I'm going to just slobber, completely. All the anger, fear, pain. I'm just going to make a mess. You should just indulge me and take care of me, because the adult is not able to take care of his or her own pain. Now, can you outsource the inner child to be babysat? What do you think? Show me one sign of life so we can move on. Yeah. What do you think? Yeah, nobody wants to say no because they want to do that. They want to outsource it. Like hope against hope. Maybe there is an answer. Maybe I can outsource it. The outsourcing and finding a babysitter for the inner child in the form of a friend, in the form of a spouse, in the form of even the teacher, only works for a very short time. Very, very short time. That's why it's called the honeymoon period. Yeah. Somebody else is babysitting your inner child, and what are you doing? You are just fine. I don't have to deal with the pain. Somebody else is dealing with the pain. And that doesn't work. Why? Because if you give your inner children to the friend to babysit, what is going to happen to their inner children? Huh? Are you ready to take care of them? Oh, no. Okay then. That's why the inner child cannot be babysat by others. The inner child cannot be outsourced, because you know these inner children the best. You know your issues. You know your core issues. You know your triggers, at least to the extent that you know them. You know your triggers. You know the way to self-soothe. You know what you can do to get out of a certain difficult situation. So, in other words, you are the best parent for the inner child. You have to take on this role, a role that one does not want to take on, a role that seems very daunting, a role that appears to be very unpleasant, but nonetheless a role that is necessary to take on, and a role that is eminently fulfilling once the duty of this has been properly discharged. You have to take care of the inner child. Nobody else is going to do that. No, but I'll leave it on the side of the road. You have done that for so many lifetimes. How has that worked out for you? It doesn't work out. To leave it on the side of the road or to give it forcibly to somebody else to take care of doesn't work. So that's why the first 33 years of Indra along with Virojana were what? A big waste. He could not even ask for the knowledge. And it's only, the Upanishad is a lady of few words. She doesn't say much, but we can imagine. Perhaps he wanted to ask for the knowledge, and Virojana said, no, this is a nice ashram. Don't rock the boat by saying I'm a spiritual aspirant. Forget this, forget that. Let's go out and just explore. Let's do something. Free food we are getting. Why are you worried? Just let's stay here. Don't worry. Sit back, relax. Don't ask for this knowledge. Perhaps that's what Virochana did. Perhaps that's what Virochana said. It's anybody's guess. We do not know. The Upanishad just moves the story forward very, very quickly, just to give us a skeletal plot to see what it is that we have to learn. We can fill in the blanks. We can flesh out the plot to see what is it that we can imbibe. Then the question becomes, how do I take care of this inner child? Just like how you would take care of an outer child in your custody. You have to be with it all the time, most of the time. And you have to be very frank. You have to say, okay, now I am going to take you with me to work. It's take your child to work day. And what do you have to do? You have to behave. Even if you want to cry, you must not cry. You must just be all right. You must just be okay and not try to throw a tantrum. This is how you negotiate with the outer child. If you are good, then after we come back, what are we going to do? You're going to get a treat. This is exactly what you have to do with the inner child. The inner child wants to come out in the middle of an important job interview where they are asking tough questions and you are having a meltdown. The inner child is wanting you to melt down. And then you have to gain the trust of the inner child and work with it to say, not now. When I go home, we will have a talk about this. But then frequently what happens? You go home, you forget all about the inner child and you do not have a talk, you do not spend time with it, and then it rears its head the next day and you have lost its trust. First, you have to gain the trust. The next time the feelings of pain, sorrow come up, you have to be the adult, watch the pain, watch the emotions, and say, watch this ball of emotions, give it a hug and say, I am here for you. And what will the inner child say? Yeah, right. Like all these days, all these years you have been here for me, as though you're going to be here for me now. What rubbish, what nonsense. You have to say, I am sorry I wasn't here all this time. Yes, you are right. But things are going to change. I am here for you, even if you don't want me to be. I am here. This is what you would do to an outer child. That's what the game of, what is that called? Peekaboo is all about. I see you. Even though you think you are invisible and you are hiding, I see you. And the child is very happy when it's found out because it wants to be seen. The inner child too, with its ball of fears, hurts, tears, and all this pain, wants to be seen, wants to be heard. You say, I see you. I know you want to hide. I know you want to ambush me the next time, but I see you all the time. I am here with you. And you have to sit with the pain. You have to help the pain. You should not rehearse the pain. Sometimes you think you're reversing the pain by rehearsing the pain. That doesn't work. If you rehearse the pain, you have become part of the pain. You have to be the mother. You have to be the father. You have to have that inner space and not get co-opted. Therapy, very important. very, very important. It is a very important sadhana if you're serious about Vedanta. Therapy, yoga. Yoga is asanas are very, very important because they engender self-love in the most sacred way. It is just irreplaceable. Because when two body parts that were never supposed to meet come together, you say, oh, this is wonderful. This is so wonderful. And you have a sense of accomplishment. You have a sense of union. If these two body parts that I never thought could meet can meet, and therefore there is hope for the jiva to understand its oneness with Ishvara. Amazing. Once they asked me to talk at some yoga conference. Then they were giving t-shirts afterwards. They said, can you please distribute the t-shirts? I said, oh, happily. So when I opened one t-shirt, I wanted to read what was there. And it said, all's well that bends well. True it is. All is well that bends well. Because if you don't bend, what will happen? You will break. That flexibility that you see in the body, that you discover through the practice of asana, is very, very useful. Same this inner child, because that same flexibility you find in the mind, you find with regard to the senses, you find with regard to your opinions, your notions, everything. That same flexibility. So yoga is helpful, and the practice of deferred gratification, which we talked about, is very helpful. You want something badly right now. You say, okay, after 1 hour, after 2 hours. Chances are you may even forget. That is wonderful. If you don't forget, it is there for you. No problem. And if you have mastered the 2-hour gap, you can say what? 4 hours, 6 hours, 8 hours. In this way, by slow increments, you gain the trust of the inner child. And then you are there up front and center, freed of this eclipse of the inner child, the attack of the inner child, and you are free to follow your goals, your ambitions, your desires, for whatever wonderful dharmic desires one may have. Not the kind that bring you down, but I'm talking of elevated desires. You are free to follow those, and you are free to just be who you are. Oh, then what happens to the inner child? It is very much with you. It's growing up. Yes. First, you could not reason with it. Then you can make it sit quietly for 2 hours. Isn't that nice? Wonderful. Slow increments. And then first it's just a baby having a tantrum. After that, it's a toddler. You can at least make it sit down for 5 minutes. Then after that, what? It's a preschooler. And then after that, it goes into KG. And then you grow it up even more. Now it's an adolescent. And then finally, it integrates into you, the adult. The inner child is not thrown away. It is not kicked out. It is very much a sacred part of you that needs to be interrogated, that needs to be healed, that needs to be loved. And that love is you yourself can give. But oh, this is such a daunting task. If you tell me this is such a daunting task, how can I do this all by myself? You are not all by yourself. That's why we have an altar. We have Lord Krishna behind. We have Durga in front of me, that is. And we have, wherever you see, there is Bhagavan. And you make Bhagavan a partner in taking care of the inner child. If there is one daycare center where you can leave your inner children, it is the altar of the Lord. There you can say, look, I don't know what to do with this one. The others I have been able to manage. This one is an outlier. It doesn't listen. It is just very difficult. Please help me take care of this. It becomes a prayer. The inner child is offered up repeatedly, regularly in the lap of Bhagavan or at the feet of Bhagavan. In fact, if we see the statue of Lord Dakshinamurti, there is one small being at the foot of the Lord, just like that. The Lord has his heel on it. And then at first you think, oh, this is a very strange thing. Why is the Lord stepping on a child? It's not a child. When you go close and look, it has mustache. It has mustache, and then what else does it have? It has a sword in one hand. It has a dagger in the other hand. Offensive and defensive, a veritable ninja it is, and then it is threatening, ready to attack. And what does the Lord do? Just put a heel on it. Pun intended. H-E-E-L, H-E-A-L. Heel. Just be. And in fact, this small demon is the collective inner child. That's what it is. It's everybody's inner child. When it is put at the feet of Bhagavan, it is offered up. It is no more my pain. It is no more my sorrow. It just becomes an order of the Lord. Given this background, that I would have these issues is a no-brainer. Given this background, that the child will grow up with issues of trust, with issues of whatever, whatever adult issues there are, it's a no-brainer. And that is how it is. And so now it doesn't become anymore my pain. It has become part of the vast psychological order that is Bhagavan. My emotions are included in Bhagavan. This is a very phenomenal understanding, a realization that takes a while, but then it is worth it. It's worth waiting for. To see this as nothing but Bhagavan is just a great blessing. Then that leads me deeper into this quest of making peace with the inner child by making peace with my background, with my parentage. And there are so many beautiful upasanas, meditations to do that. There are wonderful meditations in Buddhism, in the Hindu tradition. You visualize the father, the mother as a 4-year-old child. This is how mother was. You don't even need a photograph. You just can visualize. This is how father was, 4 years old, 5 years old. Maybe as an adult was not a very good person, the mother or the father, in your perception. But a 4-year-old child, you look into the face of this child and you see that it too was hurt. It too had an inner child that it wasn't able to take care of because that child did not grow up to be as fortunate as you are, to have access to this knowledge, to these teachings, to yoga, to puja, prayer, to meditation. That child was not as fortunate. That child was not as lucky. And so you don't have to condone what the adult did, but you can look at the background dispassionately, objectively, and see the reasons, and then make a sankalpa, an intention to not pass on this legacy of hurt, anger, fear that you inadvertently received. Certain legacies don't have to be passed on. They can be buried right here, right now. They can be let go. You give it to the altar, that is Lord Dakshinamurti. You give it to the altar, that is Durga. She's riding a tiger, and that tiger is the inner child that she has mastered. Otherwise, what will happen if you ride a tiger? It will be like that limerick. There was once a lady of Niger that smiled as she rode a tiger. They returned from the ride with a lady inside. and the smile on the face of the tiger. That's what will happen otherwise. Yeah. But only Durga will not go inside the tiger. She's the master, she's the mistress of all the raga dveshas. The tiger represents this very difficult to tame inner child. And when we surrender to Mata Durga, then we are letting go of that. It's your problem. You please take care of it. And she does. He does. That is why we have there are so many mascots. That's why the animal mascot tells us all about the sophistication of the worship in the tradition, in the Vedic tradition. We find this. What is its name? The mouse underneath that fellow Ganesha, our beautiful Ganesha. What does it represent? A restless mind, going all the way, all the time, not being able to sit still. He sits on it, means he is the master of the mind. Like this, there is so much to learn. Peacock for Lord Subramanya, vanity. Vanity comes in 6 faces. He has 6 faces. He's the master of all those faces. Kama, terrible desires, all kinds of desires. Krodha, anger. Lobha, greed. Moha, delusion. Mada, pride. Matsarya, jealousy. And if he sits on the peacock, he has mastered the vanity coming out of these 6 faces. Very beautiful. Like this, there are so many things you can choose. So many things you can choose. So many ways to relate. This is why the concept of Ishta Devata is very, very important. And the inner child is not going to grow, you cannot be a witness to the inner child without the help of Bhagavan, without becoming first a devotee. You have to really allow the devotee to come forward, and the devotee will lead the inner child to Bhagavan, to integrate, to a path of integration rather than separation and alienation. And so this devotion has to be practiced, even if you don't feel it. Oh, I don't feel anything. Doesn't matter. My teacher used to say, fake it till you make it. In fact, you're not faking it. The truth of you is a devotee. The truth of you is the one that is integrated with everything, is appreciative of everything. You are, in essence, an appreciative, non-demanding, contented, non-complaining, accommodative, and compassionate person. So you're not faking it. You're making it. By pretending to be that in your everyday life, you're not faking it. You're actually making it. You think you're faking it. And so this way, one slowly grows. The more the inner child is tamed, the more the words of Vedanta settle in the mind. They are heard, they are understood, they make a transformation in the heart. Otherwise, it will be like the book that Hamlet, the character in Shakespeare's play, was reading. Hamlet was little off, and then the minister was sent to find out. Polonius was sent to find out, what is this Hamlet doing? He was found with a book. What do you read? Words, words, words. Polonius comes back to the father of Hamlet, the king of Denmark, and says, what? He's mad, all right, but there is a method to his madness. Some method is there, but he is mad. So the words of Vedanta must not just be lingering like a fog of words, words, words. Their meaning should just percolate the heart, should colonize the heart, should take over the entire being. And that is the sweet surrender to this knowledge. And this surrender to the knowledge, to the teacher, does not happen, must also be accompanied by surrender to Bhagavan. Even if you don't think there is Bhagavan, doesn't matter. Just pretend. Just pretend. Do it deliberately. Have a small altar. That's why it's called an altar, because it has the power to alter you. That's why it's called altar. Have a small altar. Let it come alive with your small ministration, little cup of water, one lamp, few dry fruits, and whatever you put on the altar that is meaningful, that you can relate to. Extremely important. Without bhakti, you can kiss mukti, moksha, goodbye. So this is how we take care of the inner virochana. And my prayer to everyone, on everyone's behalf, is that may the inner virochana see the light very, very soon. May everybody be filled with compassion, loving kindness, and may everybody see Brahman and beauty in themselves and in others. Om Tat Sat. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.
Thank you very much, Swami.
Thank you. Thank you again for inviting me. And it's a delight and honor to greet all of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Oh, no. This one. I will stand now for the arati. Again, the short version of the arati. I start on page 120 of the chant book. Om. Shankar, can you move the camera? Om Natatra Suryobhatina Chandra Charakam Nemadyo Tabati Kuto Yamagni Tvameva Vatsunabhati Sarvam Tasya Vasa Savamidam Vivati Om Gange Cha Yamune Chaiva Godavari Saraswati Namande Sindhu Kaveri Namastaviyam Namo Namaha Tvameva Mata Chapita Tvameva Tvameva Bandhu Shastaka Tvameva Tvameva Vidya Vidya Tvameva Tvameva Sarva Mama Deva Deva Kayena Vacha Manasendriyava Buddhyatmanava Pratitesvabhavan Kalumya Sakaram Bharismai Nara Ahiti Sam Payami Sarvabhadram Parichaychay Mamekam Sharanam Vrajam Aham Tva Sarvapapyo Mokshayishami Masuchan. Hari Om. So again, we'd like to thank Swami Niji for a very beautiful discourse. No, you're perfect. Absolutely perfect. It's just now 7:30. Yes. Thank you. Oh, thank you very much. Om Namah Shivaya. Oh, thank you.
Rishikesh, India.
Oh, yes.
Stop the recording. Oh, Namah Shivaya. So the schedule today for those staying